Hello everyone, welcome back to the third video of Firebase with Flutter. So in the previous videos we learned how we can create the data in the Cloud Firestore data and also how we can read that data. And in this video we are going to learn how we can update data in the Cloud Firestore database. So there are basically three ways to update the data in the Cloud Firestore database. The first one is the manual way and the two others are a little bit different. So first let's go upon the first way, that is manual way, and let's move to our Cloud Firestore database, and here we have eTechViral with the age 45. Let's try to update that eTechViral to only E update, and I have run my emulator. Let me show you. Now it's only E. Let me again update this age to 66 update, and you can see the age is now 66. So that was a simple manual way. You can update the data from here, and I think you know this better than me. So anyways, let's move to the second way, how we can update it using our second method. For that, simply move to the Firestore helper, copy this create method and paste it right after this, and change its name to update. Remove this user model, and there is no need of this user model, and change this set to update, and as it accept the map, so this will be username to some updated data. And let me tell you one more thing, to update some data we need an ID to update the data. So we will go to the browser and we will copy this ID from here. On that ID we will update that document. Now in that document, this username field E will be updated to some updated data when I call this update method somewhere. So let's try it. Go to the home page, and here we have a container. Let's wrap this container with the inkwell, which give us the onTap property. In the onTap we will call Firestore helper.update, and that's it. Press Ctrl S and move to the Firestore and open this emulator also to make everything clear, and we create onTap on this purple circle. Let's tap on it, and the data is changed, some updated data, and you also can see it here. So that was the second method, and now let's move to the third method. It will be a bit longer but the cleanest one, so let's also do this. Move to the Android Studio and move to the Firestore helper. Comment this out because there is no need of this update method anymore, and also remove this inkwell from here. So that's it. And again, let me tell you, we have updated this username using this ID. Like on that particular ID of the document, we have updated the single field. So from this, now we know we need an ID to update the document. So for that, let's move to the user model and let's add another field that will be our string ID, just like this, and also pass it in the constructor. And let's replicate this edge and paste the ID on it, and the same will goes for the to.json. Ctrl D to replicate ID and ID. That's it. There is some error just because we have not make it nullable. So that was it. Let's move to the Firestore helper, and now we need to modify this create method. Now when we are creating the user, so we need to add the document ID also inside a field, as we have created ID here. So let's do it. First we will create a variable final UID that will be equal to user collection doc.id. So now we have stored our randomly generated ID in this UID, and now we will pass this UID inside this doc, and also that particular UID will be inside our user model to store that UID also in the field. So let's try it. Press Ctrl S and try to add another user. His name will be, let's say, Smith, and his age is 34. Create. Smith is created. Move to the Cloud Firestore. This document is newly created and we got that document ID inside a field that is ID. So that's great. Now we will use that ID to update that field. So that's great. Again, move to the Android Studio and Firestore helper and copy this create method. Paste it right after this and this name will be update. And here now there will be the need of user model. Again we are accessing to the users and let's remove this ID because we already have created ID in the user model. So now we will get this ID from the user.id to update that particular document, and that user.id will also be on this just like this. And also not forget to change this set to update and everything will be just like this. So our update method is successfully created and now let's move to the home page again, and inside the list tile you will find another property which is trailing, and here we will put an icon, icons.edit. Press Ctrl S and check the UI. We got an edit icon here. Now we will wrap this icon with the Inkwell widget and on tap we will navigate to the edit page, and here we will edit these values, and here we will also create a button to edit these values. So that's it, and let's create an edit page. Inside these pages directory we will create another page. Its name will be edit page and that will be a stateful widget edit page. And also let's import the material package. Here will be scaffold and we will wrap this scaffold with the safe area, and there will be an app bar. There will be title, text, edit, and in the body there will be some padding edge inserts from all sides. It will be 8. In the child we're gonna have a column children, and here we're gonna have 2 fields. So let's move to the home page and copy the fields from here. Okay, there is the field, so copy these 2 fields and paste it right here. We need the controllers also, so let's also copy these from here, and also there we need the dispose. Okay, and paste it right here. And now there will be some difference in these controllers. We are not going to initialize them directly in here, and we are gonna have to declare here directly, and we will do init_stat. Init_stat is basically a method which calls only once when the page builds. So that's the init method. Inside this init method we will initialize these controllers, but first let me comment them out, and also this line of code and also this, just to check if we are navigating to this page or not. And also these inside the dispose. Move to the home page and come a little bit down, and on this icon we will add Inkwell on tap. When we tap this will navigate us to the edit page. So we'll do navigator dot push context, and route will be material page route, builder will be context, and here we will pass context. Okay, we will pass the edit page just like this. Press Ctrl S if we are navigating to the edit page or not. So let's click on it. Yes, we are navigating to our edit page, and now I want a button here of update. So let's also copy it from this home page, that Inkwell, copy it and move to the edit page, and right after this size box I will paste it, and that's it. Remove this Firestore helper from here and change its name to update. Press Ctrl S to hot reload and we got a button here. That's great. And now one interesting thing we are going to do it in here, that is we will create final user model user, and also required it in the constructor. I created the user model here and pass it inside the constructor, just because if you see the UI back to the home page, there is some data, that username and age. I want this username and age also inside this edit page, and that data will be inside this username field and age. So that's why I pass this user model here, and I will take the data from this user model. Let me show you how. So in the home page, now there is required the user model. So we will pass user model, and inside the user model the data will be that data username single user dot username, and age will be single user dot age, and also the id will be coming from single user dot id, on which we are gonna update that particular user. Okay, so let's move to the edit page and let's uncomment them also in the dispose and also in these fields. And now let's initialize them in the init state. Like this, username controller will be equal to text editing controller, and in the text we will get the initial text value from the user dot not user widget dot user dot username, and let's replicate it and copy this edge controller, paste it right here, and the edge will be user dot age, and also make them nullable. So here put assertion operator. So that all process means we are sending the data from this page, from the home page, here in the edit page. So that username and age will be the initial value of these fields, just like this. Press Ctrl S, or let's hot restart the application and open our emulator. And when I press this edit, you can see in the fields we got that data from our home page. When I go back and press this edit, we will get the Steve and 1000 age in the fields. So that's great, we are getting the data. So now the one remaining thing is just to call the update method on this update. So let's come here, and inside this inkwell we will call Firestore helper dot update. It accept the user model, and id will comes from widget dot user dot id, and the username will be the newly updated text which we are passing in the fields username controller dot text, and also put the assertion operator here, and age will be edge controller dot text, just like this. And as this update method is a feature, so it give us the then method dot then. So it means when this process completes, so what will happen in this method, we will open the body, and when all this process completes, so we will do navigator dot not push but pop. So this will pop this edit page and will navigate back us to the home page. So let's hot restart the application. Now we are on our home page. So let's try to edit some data. So I'm going to edit this Smith. Let's click on it, and we will do Smith professional, and his age will be, let's say, 99, and update. We are navigated to the home page, and it's updated Smith professional and 99. And I'm not going to update these two data just because, let me show you in the Cloud Firestore database, these values are previously added. We add these values in the previous video. At that time there were no id in our document, so when I update these fields there will be some unexpected behavior. So we should update the fields which contains the id. So let me create another user. His name will be, for example, again Steve Jobs, and his age will be 80. Create, and we got Steve Jobs with the 80 age, and let's try to edit his data. Steve Jobs will be, let's say, something, and his age to 123. Update, and the Steve Jobs is updated to something and 123. So just like this you can update the data in your Cloud Firestore database. So I hope if you like the video, if so, show some love in the comment section, and also let me know if something is not clear to you. And also be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you will not miss any future updates and videos like this. For now, goodbye, and I will see you in the next video.